Well, it looks like Stab is the Tyrion to Pistola's Daenerys here, as he seems to come in this sort of advisory role that's helped United get their feet back under them, and they're doing it in a fabulous way.
I don't get that reference. What is that from a show? Or?
I think it's from Avengers.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah.
Cool. Is it safe to talk about that yet? I don't know. I got ripped apart on Twitter for just making a comment about like some I don't know, military tactics that happened inside the round. Or that episode. I said round. What am I? I'm just got too much PUBG on
that was a great episode of PUBG. E United comes out on top, absolutely drops down their opponents. Ghost, there's a lot of references we could actually tie this in. I'm not going to.
Okay.
Ghost, they performed well, couldn't pull it off there at the end. E United kept 4 alive, 12 kills. Well, for me, another big champion out of this one was Cloud9. 8 kills. Yeah. Didn't get the circle really, but put up some good numbers and played very, very well.
Look, when you're looking at, obviously we're talking a little bit about the game here, but when you look at the overall picture of the 3 games for today, Ghost Gaming came into today in 14th place. They've now had 2 games where they finished second. Obviously, you know, you'd love to have a first place finish out of that, but that's still a dramatic improvement. Meanwhile, C9 has also been performing really well. That's a 5th place and a 4th place back-to-back on Miramar. So great games for them today as well. It's not always about who wins, but it's also about who can play the most consistent, as Player One taught us in the day one.
You talked about their place mistake. Let's take a look at how they placed in that match. Cloud9 went out in 5th place, but I think, they end up in 3rd because kills matter.
So with this, you can see E United 22 points. Ghost Gaming coming in 2nd with those 12 points. Got to give a shout out to my son Drassel for getting that 2nd place position again. Nice. We got Cloud9 coming in 3rd. Lazarus, we keep seeing these teams constantly reappearing in the top 4 to 5, but Rumblers make an appearance right there in that 5th place spot.
You just slipped in the Drassel son. You didn't even No, hashtag Drassel Dad, like for real though.
It's probably the biggest running meme that I have seen with the NPL so far. Is every time I'm on camera, it's like, is that Drassel's dad?
It's okay. If we were in EU, you'd see pictures of me, young me, next to Hexetti over and over again like we did earlier. But here we go. Check in on the boys from Ghost. Again, great day for them coming out so far. McCoy is very shocked to see himself on camera. We usually only put players that are performing well on camera. So here you are today. You're there. Good job.
All right, over rankings for Tilt. Look back into match 3. Here's our overall Phase 2 overall rankings. E United at the top with a nice little lead. Tempo right behind. A lot of folks working to catch up to him. Like Cameron said with his exceptional math, a point is a point, and 1 point is more than 0 points.
It's true.
So, I mean, that's the difference between 2nd and 4th, right? The 1 point.
Well, I mean, look, if we're being real, the difference between 1st place and all the way down to 12th, really, I mean, it's not super huge. It's something that can be surmounted here in one day. So, you know, we're seeing the typical log jam we see kind of in the middle. And
it's not about the size of the lead. It's how you handle it and make it work for you. Match 4, featured teams, Space Station Gaming, Ghost, Tempo, Lazarus. Match, we're talking about these guys.
All right, Space Station Gaming, kind of talked about a second ago, old Tim's fate. They've had a couple of flashes of what we used to see from them, but not quite as consistent as we saw from them in the past. Ghost Gaming is on a huge upsurge right now. We're seeing them start to perform much more regular. Look at those stats. Kills 7th. Back behind that in 5th as far as damage goes. Tempo Storm, what do I need to say? If you don't know who Tempo Storm is at this point, you haven't been watching any NPL. And Lazarus, old shoot to kill, damage and kills both in 3rd.
Yeah, it's really interesting, though, to see that Tempo is actually in 6th place in damage. Meanwhile, SSG in 2nd. Just want to see the placement points start coming out from the squad in yellow there. But as you said, Ghost Gaming having a great day. Tempo as well. We got one more on our Angel, though, before we call it a day.
Not a surprise to see these 4 teams. Remember, if you want to see different teams get involved, get online, take your vote. Real quick, 1 sentence, quick take matchup. What do you want to see on the last Durango match?
Ghost Game has gotten close so many times. I want to see them get the round victory.
Poro?
A normal circle.
A normal circle. Well, I can't wait to see what we've got in store from our casting teams, the legends, WTF Moses and Cammy D.
Thank you so much, Toffees. Yes, indeed. We are back on Erangel, and we are going from south to north. You haven't seen it yet, but you will soon.
Spoiler.
Spoiler on the...
You know,
they don't even have their headsets on. There's massive spoilers here.
I know the internet's all like, oh, don't spoil anything, so sorry. I guess you should boycott us
Get
now.
off the internet then, if you don't want to learn things, okay? I can talk about things that happened within the last minute. Okay?
Oh, look, there's the map. Spoiler.
It's all good. Now everyone can see. But, you know, it's been a fun day here, man. I think the first circle in Erangel was, again, the military circle's difficult to deal with, as is McCoy's propensity to wave at us no matter what is happening. You know what? I got to say, Space Station Gaming holding on just outside the top 8 camera. What do they got to change?
So I actually saw, if you look at the statistics when they were the featured team, is that they were, I believe, 8th in damage to start the day off, or earlier today, and now they're in 2nd. And that goes to show that all the fights that they've been in, that they've actually been dealing back about as much as they've accepted. But their kills are still only 7. So if they can just convert all that damage into finished kills, we could easily see them skyrocket up. It's been a transitional period for them, but seems to be on the right path.
Talked to a couple of teams here between the games, and the question I was asking in the early stages of this split, who is the most annoying team in the lobby? And the name I keep hearing is Accelerate. So this is a squad that has not been performing particularly well, but they do seem to be getting at least under the skin of their enemies in the lobby.
Are they the new Agents of Chaos, Phase 2?
I mean, Denial has not been as chaosy as we've seen in split number 1. But for Accelerate, they've been hitting those headshots, they've been harassing, but they haven't really been succeeding. So that is kind of annoying.
They're still in, like 15th place?
Yeah, no, I mean, they're not crushing the lobby. They're annoying everybody. That But regardless, we have the teams out of the plane now, and we are going straight up the middle, pretty much everywhere available. And for the annoying team of the lobby right now, for Accelerate, they find themselves all the way south, and perhaps we'll get a military-based game again, and maybe they can show their chops. But for the love of God, can you stop giving us military circles for a minute?
Yeah, please. The Rumblers actually decided to go Novo, and I think Player 1 took a couple of players to land on military base as well. Whether that's to get out of the plane early on this plane route to get their loot done as quickly as possible, or because they're afraid it's going to go back to military yet again, we don't know. But it's potential that all these military first circles are... Okay, yeah, there we go.
God damn it. All right, well, cast a curse. Everyone, again, is going to be headed down to the military island. Again, it is kind of 50-50, but 9 times out of 10, this thing is winding up around that southern area. So for the Rumblers, they're in Novo. They've got to be feeling good. And for Ghost, maybe this time they'll be able to set themselves up an effective camp. But Envy's right there, and they'll have, again, Pekkadoris maybe playing a factor.
So Peck are actually even further away from Envy this time around. So Envy have potentially even more space to work with, and could actually be a real thorn in the side of Ghost. Milta is a rough spot to loot. One of the reasons why is because of Farm. It's right there. It can actually punish rotations. And Farm actually has priority on getting into the traditional bridge camp spots. So if Envy don't have to worry about Pekadores at all, Ghost could be in a lot of trouble. If they want to go for the bridge camp, that is. Ghost could easily go east, get a boat, and drive to military on their own over the water.
So the reason why military island circles are so annoying, at least in competitive PUBG, is the rotational aspect becomes just chaotic. Either you're jumping into a boat, you're getting camped off of vehicles, there's bridge camps. That giant channel of water is death for players. As soon as you get in the water, you are going to get punished by anyone who can see you.
I mean, they are as annoying in casual play. If you think there aren't as many, if not more, people bridge camping in casual play than in competitive play,
I'm a bridge camper.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. Exactly.
I don't mind military circles, but at the same time, if you're camping the bridge, you're not really thinking 2 steps ahead, really, because you're going to have teams like Rumblers come in and camp the southern compound, which is a very powerful compound to hold. It's just on the eastern side, on the southern side of the bridge. You have a 3-story to work with. You have a lot of buildings you can use there. So this is the game. If I'm the Rumblers, I'm trying to make this my game to win. They've been up and down. They've had some flashes, but this is the game they need to capitalize on.
Was that an Alan Moore comic, Who Camps the Campers?
That is the deepest cut. Sure, I'm going to say yes, just to validate whatever the hell that meant.
It was a Watchmen reference.
Okay.
Right?
Anyway.
Yeah.
I get it. I'm being contrarian. It's normally your thing.
I know Matchroom got it.
Yeah, he's a nerd. So
exactly. Exactly.
And he's wearing stilts as well, so he's not to be trusted. So for the Rumblers, again, it's about early movement. And I got to say, even with the super settings, getting that early game loot quickly is going to be the key here. And they have not been fast out of the gate, so we'll see if they can shift that up here. But Envy's already making their first move. They finished up in the farm area, and they're headed south across the bridge.
Yeah, actually, Rumblers, they've been pretty fast out of the gate, but they're going south. They don't want to deal with the bridge camp at all. Perhaps they've been on the the worst side of these early game engagements, that they just want to play it safe and, get to the mid game eventually at some point.
Well, they're taking the high ground here, right? So that's what Ghost has
Yeah.
typically done in these situations, is you get the observatory area. And speaking of which, Ghost is going to be the first one out, well, at least the first player out, as McCoy has to bail out. All that waving, I guess he wasn't warmed up, and now he's really low. He's got to have like 1 HP down there, as there goes the boat. The depth charge is coming in from Moody and Pat Caps. Yes, indeed, he's got literally 1 health. As McCoy, if he takes even a stitch of damage, he is going to die very quickly. He has to come up for air and use those pillars of the bridge, as Ghost was unable to drive across and had to go for the boat.
I like how Envy aren't committing onto this, though. They're going to go further south and try and get the even stronger bridge camp position. This is a pretty hard commitment onto the military island. It is more likely going to be on the military island than off, but there's still a sizable probability that I could swing back up north. So we'll see what they can do if that happens. But you always have to do a coin flip. You always got to choose one side or the other, whether you're talking about this strait between the 2 islands or even the river up north on the main island that we haven't seen in years, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, it does feel like it's been the entire NPL so far.
So Vernie, is that a place?
Yeah, I know, indeed. So, I mean, if you're Denial, you're very familiar, but they've got a long rotation. They're actually going to overtake Space Station Gaming, who's also in their vehicles trying to head south. And, I mean, at this stage, we've seen a couple of teams avoid trying to dash across those bridges and then just try and pick up the kill points on the northern side before even trying to attempt to move. If you're Space Station Gaming, if you're Simplicity, who now sits at the bottom of the leaderboard, you got to get something going. Maybe these chaotic games. Denial, they won the first game in a situation very similar to this.
Yeah, and they actually had 13 kills in that game, so even though you can argue that they got a lot of circle favor, they were able to get even more points on top of that. It's not like they had a 1 or 2 kill game. Oh, Nerf, you need to be real careful, because wild card, alligators in the swamp lying in wait. Sharp shot has the angle, waiting for the opportune moment, gets the spray.
Not a single
Not a single bullet.
Wow. Well, sharp shot, missed shot. Sometimes it happens, and Nerf will avoid getting down there. Bit of a potato, a rare potato from Sharp Shot in that situation, but just the red dot. I'm not sure what the kit's like on that M4, but he only had 2 mags to spare, and he's only got 1 left now. So Sharp Shot is going to go back to the tool shed and see if he can come back out with something a little sharper.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a Tom. Oh, that's Caden. What? I think.
No Tommy guns, please. No Tommy guns.
I don't know. I only saw the handle, so who exactly knows? But actually, Nerf gets taken out by Lampalot, so by running away from Wildcard, they end up directly in. Oh, they don't. That was across the river. Okay.
Yeah, Player 1 Esports has been hitting those shots. He's got the smoke down. Maybe that was a support smoke, and Caden's going to go for the quick nade, see if he can do some fishing there. That looks pretty good. There it is. That's a kill going to Wildcard, so they will get it back regardless of what happens with the M4. They do get the point, and now Profi and the rest of the squad are going to make their way across the bridge, leaving Nerf behind.
Yeah, they're pushing over. The minute that down went, even with the smoke there, it was going to be a rough ask to get the revive. They still have 3 up. No reason to try and go for more out of that and potentially lose more. So they're just going to go across the bridge and camp the southern side and beat Wildcard there. They have to worry about Player 1 Esports, but so does Tempo Storm. Zampa trying to heal up out in the boat, and an angle is discovered up on the cliffs.
Just playing a bit of a harassing style right now as Aguila, as Zampa doing pills and Red Bull out in his boat. I guess that's kind of a thing. I don't know.
That's my preferred weekend.
Fair enough. Pills and drinking out in the boat. Find Cameron in Miami most weekends, I guess. So for Lazarus, they've got, again, the Milta Beach kind of not locked down, but they're using their vision effectively, waiting for players like Define Legit to hit the water and try and pick up those easy kills. You're essentially defenseless once you're in that water. So for Lazarus, just watching and waiting now as Define Legit not willing to commit just yet to the long swim. Not a lot of boats available on the coastline either. And the first circle shift is going to come in. I think the urgency, Cameron, is, again, players being burned from that first shift that might come back north.
I'm just waiting to see if Adam can hit a shot. Talking about weapons that we hardly see, he's wielding a mutant. But actually, the bike comes forward to Define Legit. He pulls out the Scar, gets the spray, lands a couple of shots, but he needs a couple more.
Tactical backflip quickly.
Oh, but he's driving into more Lazarus members. This is not safe.
Someone's going to catch him. It might be Halo. Define Legit again, just trying to motorcycle away. Those two-seaters are so flexible, but it doesn't matter as Define Legit joins the ground in unison as he will finish his game flat-faced in the dirt as Uncivil will pick up his loot.
That's a point. It's a good start.
Cameron.
And Lord, the second circle. You can see everyone frantically trying to get across because this one's a brutal one. It is majority water. This is not going to be fun at all.
I'm just looking across the room and nobody's smiling right now.
No one is smiling.
I mean, Ghost has come across into Novo. They're feeling okay. I mean, they did take a couple of casualties. Didn't see if McCoy was able to rejoin the squad. He's still alive. But for now, it's all water. And if you're Tempo Storm out in the boats, you're just kind of coming in low and slow. Adam and the rest of the squad, he's using a mutant, which is disgusting in my opinion. But Adam and their, maybe pick up a long distance kill. He's going to have to mail the bullets from that mutant to that Dacia, as hitting those shots at that distance is next to impossible.
You got to lead like 5 seconds into the future with that gun. Like 5 miles up in the sky as well because of the bullet drop.
If you know me at all, you know that the mutant is not my favorite weapon. So for Soapy and Denial, I hear a baby. Oh, and looking.
The baby doesn't like the mutant.
The baby doesn't like the mutant either. So for Soapylicious, as the Car 98s come out to play, Space Station Gaming is basically hemmed right in. But they've got the defense, but they have to come across the circle eventually. They've got the bridge, they've got the gas station, but they've got to make the move.
With a circle like this and you're not already across into the Novo area, you're not even planning for 10 minutes in the future. Your job right now is to thin out the herd immediately surrounding you and then maybe make a decision after that. You want to get as many kills, as many points as possible. Trevor trying to get the lineup on a Tempo Storm, who are still playing out in boats.
They are literally playing in their boats. They're like, let's just do donuts until the circle reveals itself again, just trying to avoid it.
There's so little land.
Well, I mean, there's not much they can do. They're just going to try and wait. I mean, look at the northern side of the circle. So many teams have trying to make their way across the last remaining bridge. Endemic and Simplicity, they've been battling on the western bridge. It's a bit of a disaster. This circle, man, is really dictating the pace of this game.
Yeah, the Erangel used to be the favored map by majority players, majority of squads.
Well,
this phase is trying its best to revert that.
I mean, it's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes, Cam, with the military out in the circles. It's just chaotic.
Duck.
And with the water as well. So if you're playing this circle right now, if I'm anyone in this lobby, I'm trying to rumble and get away from the side, or if I'm the rumble, I'm trying to get away from the side. But for Crispier and the rest of Simplicity, it's kind of this war of attrition on the bridge right now.
Yeah, Crispier there's no way for him to escape right now after he loses his teammate in something. His job is going to be to make it as obnoxious for Simplicity as possible. Deal as much damage as he can. His 2 other teammates are already on the island trying to get into the circle, but they have their vehicles. And so there's no way he's getting into the circle. He just wants to ruin Simplicity's day.
Here comes Penta. Oh, that's a nice little bait there. Crispier looking for the vehicle down, but he can't get it as it's Lobes in the back line. A little bit of a honk of the horn as they will pass by, as it's only Crispier who's left to die in the blue. Denial has got Space Station Gaming right at their doorstep. It's there's the circle shift and finally eliminating most of the water. And that's going to center up right on top again on the Rumblers on the high ground. So this is their game once again. Crispier finished off, and Space Station Gaming has to decide now with the circle shift coming in, what do they do next?
Yeah, they're still fighting Denial, and they don't even have a single kill yet. So this engagement is perhaps lasting a lot longer than either of these squads was hoping for.
Sharu's looking to get a nade in through that backside of the garage and can't land it just yet. So Tempo Storm coming out of the boats and now looking for some kills. Accelerate Gaming above. Disciple, he's got the SLR at the ready. He's got the wrong gun at the ready, however, as now it's Tempo bearing down. He just did not want to switch off the SLR. Does he even have an AR at his disposal? He's having to run away.
He's got a Scar.
So, I mean, I'm not sure what the game plan is here. Maybe just trying to bait them into some sort of trap. I don't know, but Zampa's getting closer, and there the trap is sprung. Tetra at distance will land the M4 spray and the quick flush. Another point going to Accelerate. And that is Zampa down and out. Tempo has not been having an easy game so far. And now they're on the low side trying to do 2v2 with Trevor, and he will go down from behind, I believe. It's Wildcard gutting them from behind, Cameron.
Wildcard playing a wildcard in this fight as he get multiple kills. But Tempo Storm, they're not out of it just yet. Maluk just barely staying alive. Only 2 of them up. One of the big downsides, one of the many big downsides to boats, is that once you finally do get across, you're onto land again, you have no more vehicle. And Tempo Storm took a lot of punishment from player 1, from Accelerate, and now from potentially Wildcard.
Wildcard having done some damage on foot, moving forward. Player One Esports. It's Aguila. Guess what? Who's right next to him? He has no idea. It's Sharky. He's heard the shots, but he's got the vehicle used to cover. Sharky might have lost his advantage, and he will indeed lose the 1v1 as Sharky quickly flushed as Aguila. Sharky is such a dominant force in the last phase. Not having a good round. Obviously, he's down and out as now it's only Maluk left standing for Tempo Storm.
That was a free kill for Sharky, and the fact that he didn't get a single bullet, it seems, onto Aguila.
It's not really free. I mean, Aguila jumps out on the driver's side. He's got moving cover, and really he just missed his opportunity to hit him while he was in the vehicle. So for Tempo,
tomato.
It's hard, man. It's hard to hit those shots. I know it from experience, man. It's hard to just. Sometimes you have a guy in a vehicle. Next thing you know, he's got cover and you don't.
Fair enough. I just mean the fact that Sharky knew that Aguila was there, and only when Sharky shot did Aguila was any of the wiser that there was a threat just on his right side. So when you have to pounce, you have to make it work, or else it's going to be a trade possibility for the other opponent. And that's exactly what we see here. He knows that Maluk is on the low ground, it seems, but is he going to commit too heavily into this? Because here comes the push by Wildcard. All four up in a good spread position for multiple angles on this engagement.
Well, again, it's a 2v, well, not a 2v situation, but there's only two players with Wildcard right now. And again, now's the shots. Again, unable to get Aguila down, and the nade quick follow-up. We'll see if that can hit Pay Dirt. It's going to be landing very close by. Aguila half health. The headshot landing. The nade's not doing anything just yet. He's going to run away through the smoke, and he's going to get downed immediately as Wildcard now putting the bricks to Player One Esports. And that's a quick flush as Wildcard picks up another point. Tumai going frenzied here as Player One Esports backs away using the cliffs to their advantage.
How comfortable are Wildcard that Maluk isn't down below them? That's the question I want to know.
They have no idea he's there. They didn't see him.
They may, because they heard the fight with Sharky earlier, but D-Treats gets a knock on to Caden, so that's a good trade back in their favor. But a nade! A nice one in the spray down from Pride as well. So a good finish on this engagement for Wildcard. Should easily be able to get the revive onto Caden, and Maluk needs to make the decision. Does he want to pounce now? And Adam
down and out, unfortunately. The bucky! I think we'll take down Curdy or the explosion.
Uncivil continue to drive on. It's the last one left, and he's on a bike and can make some distance, but he's up in the air. Shots from Envy, and it's 2 HP left.
Moody will take him down, and down in 14th place. The visible frustration on the boys from Lazarus in front of us here as Cherry Poppin' and H-Win are still battling. Cloud9, only one kill on the board. K-Mind again in the clutch position where he has to go for the res. They're in the zone, but they do have all of Simplicity bearing down. It's only Profi standing in their way.
Oh, look to your left. Look to your left, Profi. Simplicity taking a lot of shots. Actually, I believe that's from Wildcard. C9, they seem to have no clue on anyone who's around them. He is watching the potential area that Simplicity could have been coming from, but Simplicity are going on to the low ground. Maluk in the distance is discovered, and he's going to fall to his death. It's a point denial. I'll give him that, but still not the performance that anyone has been expecting really this entire weekend by Tempo Storm.
It's rough, man, to come off such a dominant victory in phase number 1 and have a strong, or at least a slow start, I should say, in this round. The match damage, only 258 total points there for them. But for Wildcard, they've been playing this harassing squad on the southern side. And for Simplicity and Cloud9, Profi kind of lost the encroaching players, but now K-Mind will spot Wildcard in the open. Not sure if he wants to take these shots just yet because, again, they're looking for Simplicity. They know they're nearby, but they haven't been able to spot them out yet.
A shot may look tasty and may look like it's just out there for you to take, but if you miss or you don't even finish, then they could easily turn back onto you, and Cloud9 could be in the barrels of 2 squads rather than just one.
That's something any player can witness, man, is that if you think a fight's easy, you have to kind of think of all of the components. And K-Mind, a high-level player, recognizes if he can't get those downs and Simplicity is nearby, they're going to have 2 fights on their hands. McCoy, he's got the mini. He's looking at E United, I believe, who's making their way up on foot. Only a tree to work with between them.
Tetra!
Tetra's there as well. McCoy's been spotted out. The quick flush. And another point going to accelerate. And Shrimzy is there as well. Cloudtail getting him down, and the last 2 standing from Accelerate Gaming are taking it to Ghost Gaming on the edge of the zone, just outside of Novo. And there's another finish as Shrimzy goes down, and now Drassel again finding him. Well, that's that. Drassel is down and out as Pistola Time puts it back on him, and United is actually going to escape without losing any players.
Accelerate, a good push-up for them, but now they're in a rough spot because it looks like they're getting collapsed upon by Envy, and then E United onto their east, and there are only 2 up. They took a couple of casualties earlier on the southern side.
Envy hearing the fight, they've come over to play with the remnants of Accelerate. They've got 4 strong as well. Cloudtail spraying, trying to avoid, but now E United, they're getting involved as well. That's going to be actually Cloudtail getting down by Geist and finished by Interrogate, 1 point going to Envy, and now it's only Tetra, all of Envy looking his way. That tree is feeling very lonely and very unsafe.
So Pecadores, they're able to get onto the military island this time, and they're playing this game their signature quiet style, but they do still have 4 up, and they're in a good position in this circle. Wildcard running up onto them. They could be able to finish these guys out, but over here, Tetra, the last remaining player from Accelerate, words are hard, up against the 4 of Envy and E United just down to the south. He's hiding in smoke, not a lot he can do. He just has to hope that Envy and E United get distracted by each other, and for him to perhaps pick off a down and maybe get a 4th point for him before he goes out.
Finally, Profi has found the remnants, and the last 2 players from Simplicity will go down and out as they pick up 2 more points and a little bit of space on the southern side. They're going to have to slowly make their way in. That nade landing right on top of Tetra, and Stab with a point will say, no more for you, as E United gets another placement and a couple of kills as we move into the top 10 teams.
They should know that Envy are there, but they're not taking the fight because they want to get into the circle first. It's a minute and 30 before it's fully closed, but they want to find good positioning. They still have 4 up, and so it's another potential round win for them if they can control their angles. They do need to worry about Wildcard to get a little close, but Low Stage D, Rumblers, they only have 2 kills so far. They're up on the high ground. They want to get more before they're going to have to descend.
Yeah, they're going to have to come off this high ground fairly shortly here. Looks like the circle, well, I mean, it could go north or south. Either Pecadores will get the advantage or the Rumblers will maintain their high ground. They've got Space Station Gaming in the Wizard Tower below. The line of sight issues aren't there because they're in the lower half of the building. Hetero on the exterior, and I believe that's Baja on the interior, just kind of camping it out. Space Station Gaming not playing with a lot of momentum right now. They're just trying to hold on, trying to get those placement points. But E United has rotated towards Cloud9. They might have the flank on the open here. Not sure if they saw any movement just yet, Cam.
Established actually shooting up onto the Rumblers. It seems very long distance, perhaps trying to be a little bit of a bait for Cloud9. But look, the sprays come down. It's trades back and forth. Pistola's trying to get a second for C9.
The nade comes up and follow-up. K-Mine stuck on the ridge line here. The nades are right on top of them. H-Win is going to go down. K-Mine is going to go down to Geist in the back line. And just like that, it's only Profi. The nade's rolling downhill towards him. He's got a nade at the ready as well. They'll perfectly cook, maybe, and he will not get anything for it as Cloud9 is wiped off the face of the earth by E United.
A good crush by E United, but Wildcard are dealing damage, get a kill and a flush themselves onto Stab, so they lose a player in the meantime. I actually think they lost 2. They may be only down to 2 themselves and have to push up 2 onto Wildcard, but right now the Rumblers versus SSG is still going off.
It looks like the Space Station Gaming shift is now going to have to go further south, as we will see not a hard shift, but it centers up on the high ground, and the Rumblers might be using it to effect as E United will get finished off, I believe. I think that was Wildcard I saw on the southern side. Envy also playing a factor. They've got a little bit of time and space, but now an uphill fight as they move towards the Rumblers, who are still atop the Observatory Mountain.
Voxic, you can see he's retreating, trying to find a different angle, while Wildcard are shooting towards Pecadores. Pecadores, you're 4 up, you only have 1 kill, but you're in a decent spot in the circle.
They got to prove something here, Cam.
Yeah, that game plan was all about getting kills into the late game. You have to do it now. Let's hope it works out for you. Your resources should still be high. You've avoided a lot of fights. Let's put it to work.
Pecadores and Wildcard, this is a fight that's essentially, I mean, off on its own. So this is where Pecadores has to show us.
Yeah.
Can you hang 4v4 with a good team like Wildcard? And we haven't seen that from them yet. So now Pecadores, they're getting a little bit of pressure, a little bit of probing, but this squad has been so passive. Voxic, the new player, the experienced Clam with that spray, cannot get down Baja. I think the pan might have played a factor there. That looked like it was pretty on target. The nade follow-up, when in doubt, and the bullets don't work, go to the dynamite, and Baja will go down. The nade meta, ladies and gentlemen. If it doesn't work, just throw a grenade at it.
I don't think they know where Hetero is, though, and so the wall of smoke is giving Hetero an opportunity and will delay Clam's push, the engagement, until Clam gets really close. In the meantime, Jason's actually going in the opposite direction. Clam being a little too slow, taking some damage from the blue. Petro maybe spotting him out, puts a couple of shots, gives his position away. This gives Clam an opportunity to trade back, trying to find a different angle.
That pillar's in the way. He can't shoot around the staircase, and now the blue is at his back, and he's got a lot of pressure coming from the Rumblers as well. Microfy, Los HD has come down, but Waldo in the back line says, don't worry, I got your back, Clam, as he takes down Hetror, and Space Station Gaming goes down in 7th place. Clam's not watching the kill feed. He's got no idea, and he can't see the body, and the blue's doing so much damage, and Clam will go down to the blue, and likely that will be it for him, as only Jason is left standing, but he can't help him either, as Wolf will finish him off. BMG is down in 6th place, and Microfry running forward. Here's that fight we were talking about earlier. It's Pekkadoris and Wildcard. It looks like Vexel's been playing the factor here as the shots continue to rain down. Voxic on the high side using the tree as cover. Wildcard having to go full defensive. They can't get anything started. They're trying to get the nades going, Cam.
Yeah, it's a good dip for Pekkadoris to land one into on the wild card, but they can't reach. There's just too far away. So a nice initial knock to delay the engagement by wild card, but still no points coming into their favor. And the longer they wait, the smaller the circle's going to get, and the closer other teams are going to be getting to them. Voxic landing a couple more shots, and wildcard looks like they're trying to adjust their own positioning using vehicles.
Looks like it's the Rumblers and Envy on the top side of the hill as well. They've had to come off their high perch as Rumblers, with Envy now waiting, but it's all about Pekkadoris and Wildcard on the edge of the zone. Pekkadoris has the zone. They've now got the advantage. They have to wait and be patient. They've done a lot of damage to Wildcard. You have to wonder, what are the helmets, what are the armor like now? And they're looking like they're going to have to make a vehicle push, and this is a desperation move now from Wildcard, moving away and towards Envy, and lots of shots landing.
Well, the vehicle goes out as a potential distraction or plan B, but only 2 players inside the 2-2 split, but they're getting into the engagement that Rumblers are having with Envy. A nice 2-2 split by them. 2 on the high ground, 2 rotating up on the low ground, and they get a number of knocks, but the damage also comes back as Los is down. Can Waldo and Godspeed push forward? They know Envy are in the dip. Can they finish this squad off?
Venerated, prone, waiting. There's a headshot potential if someone peeks over. I don't know if he can't defend anything right now. He's going to lose his 2 teammates. And now Microfry is going to try and finish off. That's both kills going to him as Pat Capson and Terra are down and out. Envy taking a lot of damage. Rumblers coming off the mountain, still 4 strong, but they're going to get some shots in turn. I believe that's Wildcard. Another 4v4 setup here as they're using the low side to their advantage. They've got a 2-2 split still. Man, you got to be careful here, Cam.
Look at Pekkadoris, though. They're pushing in onto this. They're chasing after Wildcard. They know that they still have a better position in the circle. Wildcard are still closer towards the edge.
Oh,
but here
baby.
comes the push-up from Rumblers. One member of Wildcard is already down. Then make that 2, make that 3. It's just Sharp Shot left. And he is surrounded by Sharks. A nice nade to finish off Smurf.
This is looking horrible for Wildcard, and just like that on the 2 flank, the Pekkadoris and Rumblers pinch, and they are down and out now. Here comes the re-engage. Pekkadoris has got blood in their mouth, and they're looking for more.
Wildcard, even though they went out, they did a lot of damage, and this can open it up for either Pekkadoris or Rumblers to take this over. In the meantime, Venerated staying alone, and Demic only 2 up on the western side, so this is still at this point anyone's game. Every single squad is wounded at some point. I say that, Rumblers, they're healing up. Pekkadoris aren't pushing in on this because they're so wounded themselves. It's too much of a risk for them, and so Rumblers still 4 up, but they're on the edge. They need to find these engagements, and they need to try and get more kills.
We just saw Endemic. They're kind of patrolling the edge of the zone, but Pekkadoris is D-Master. He can't get the spray. Los will turn on him. D-Master, unfortunately, still looking for that touch that he might have had in phase number 1, and he's going to get flushed out, and just like that, Pekkadoris wiped by the Rumblers. They are rolling now.
Vexel and D-Master decided to split up, and it did nothing for them. There was no trade potential. Even in a 2v4 situation where Rumblers had the advantage, they only gave them more of an advantage by making it multiple 4v1s.
This is now looking precarious for Endemic as the Rumblers have taken off so much gear from all this down, all the meds, all the grenades, everything they've been picking up from all these dead bodies that they've rolled through the endgame. 11 kills. Pekkadoris played a big factor in that fight, but got almost no points from it. It's now 11 kills to the Rumblers, and they're going to be taking that center position. Venerated, the last man from Envy. It's essentially... Man, if only Endemic can maybe do something to the Rumblers here, but they've got a great ridge to work with. They're in the zone. If you're Endemic, Cam, what are you doing here?
waiting to see if you can't get a pick onto the Rumblers. You're only 2 up and there are 7 alive. You know the man advantage is not in your favor unless for some odd reason there are so many snakes. But if you're watching the kill feed, you should at least be somewhat aware that that is not necessarily the case. Rumblers, however, they're scanning around, they're combing the fields, and they're slowly getting themselves centered. It's going to be a rough center because this circle is basically on a giant slope. So they want to find kills while they have the high ground, but Endemic and Venerated from Envy are not peeking. They are not giving it to them, so they're going to keep the Rumblers guessing.
Venerated is just hoping for another placement point here. He's got to be doing the math. Venerated's a very smart player. He already knows the Rumblers have come through this way. They didn't lose any, or they didn't take anyone off that squad. So realistically for Venerated, he's in a tough spot, but he's in cover and he's just got to wait. Endemic is in the same position. They're only too strong. Maybe they have an idea as to where the Rumblers are, but I mean, for them, it's the last circle. They're in the center. They're going to grab it. They're going to hold on to it, and it's a matter of avoiding any unnecessary damage. And now Wolf is on the move. Microfry scanning.
I don't know if Micro saw the scalp.
He saw Rello for sure. And now the shots are going to come out. A quick landing there. Wolf trying to return with a 3-time scar. Anything here will be good for Endemic, but they're just getting picked apart now. Venerated is going to make his move. Wolf very low health, having to go for the first aid. The utility coming out, and there goes the first nade. The follow-up is there as well. Looks like Endemic is down and out. And yes, indeed, Venerated will get the last spot, and it's a 4v1 situation. He may look to just deny here, Cameron.
He might at this point if he recognizes that it's a 4v1, but he's pushing forward. He's trying to find the engagement, but look at the Rumbler spread. They're trying to peek over the hilltop and find the last player. They know it's a 4v1, but he's running away. It looks like he is trying to go towards the blue and deny these points because he sees the swarm of the Rumblers pushing in on him, and Venerated gets it down onto lows. Can he get a kill? That's 1 more point for him, and he's running back to the blue. He's got 5 HP,
He's out.
and he's denying it.
Venerated says, I got one from you, I'm out of here. And he will die to the blue, but it's going to be the Rumblers. Even though they win the game, they maybe lose a point there. So, I mean, what a game from them, as I guess for the Rumblers, they have got to be feeling good. That's the victory they needed.
I was concerned with their decision to play it so safe in the early game. When you have a military base island, you have 2 decisions. Play loud early and don't expect the late game, or you play super safe early game and hope for the late game. It didn't work out in Pecadori's favor, but the Rumblers get the win with a full 13 kills. I was expecting the winner to have maybe 6 or 7 because of how spread the kills get in games like this, but they collect 13. That is 23 points.
You know, so many players in all of PUBG go their entire careers without ever getting a victory. But for the Rumblers, it's their first true NPL victory, and they've got to be feeling tremendous relief as they have just felt, you know, as the new team coming in, this is just pressure off their backs. They're not chasing that victory. They are able to secure it here in a really nice fashion as well.
Yeah, good job for them controlling the high ground on, what do we call it, the satellite mountain?
I call it observatory, personally.
Observatory.
Yeah.
There's a lot of call-outs for them. We should really standardize a lot of these.
Observatory.
Observatory. Write it down.
We did it.
Hashtag, are we doing hashtags now as well?
Please don't.
Please don't. No hashtags. Death to hashtags. But no, yeah, seriously, a very good round by them and a good round by Wildcard, who are one of the teams who really like to have like a really good game and a really bad game. This happens to be one of the better games. They got into a bit of a pickle near the end. When they got squashed between Pecadores and Rumblers.
It's difficult, especially in that
so
area
hard.
where it's so up and down. Terrain is such a huge factor in these games where you can't really see who's coming from where. Endemic used it at the end of that game where they just kind of proned out. They finally got spotted, but for Pecadores, even though they, man, I just think they had a little bit more of an opportunity there to maybe do a little bit more, but this is, again, a squad who's just, they make their trade on placement points, Cam.
They shouldn't. Not in this meta, not in this point system, but it is going to be a process for them to try and climb out of it. Hopefully, Relegation's last phase was a wake-up call. They get a new player in Voxic coming over from the Knights in PEL, and so hopefully this is the start of them adjusting their play style. But it's only the first weekend. This is 8 games. There is still a little bit of time to finally key yourself in to the play style that's going to net you the most points. But we are running out of time in that aspect.
We are absolutely running out of time, and that was the last game for the day. We will see you back here next weekend for Moses and Cameron. Let's kick it over to Rachel for the final interview.
Thank you guys so much. I'm over here with Godspeed, and congratulations on an excellent win for the Rumblers. You guys used to be Mustache Dave, have a different name. Now you're back here this season as the Rumblers, and this is your first time playing in the NPL Pro side coming up from Contenders. So how's it been?
That is true. Yeah, we started out as Don't Let Him Get You.
Yep.
And then we went to Mustache Dave.
There you go.
And now we're the Rumblers. We've had like a really crazy roster situation as well. As we had Chubb initially, and then we had Moody, and then we had Caden, and now we have Waldo. So we've definitely gone through the ringer as far as the roster is concerned, but I feel like now with our roster, we kind of have a really good mindset, and Waldo's sticking with us, I hope. I mean, we've been losing players left and right, but yeah, so right now in the NPL, obviously we're in Contenders last season, so or last phase, but this time we're going to try to come out swinging.
That's right, and you talked a little bit about changing up the roster now. What does Waldo mean for you? How did he adjust your four-man?
So before we had really, really good raw fraggers in that slot. Waldo is also a really good raw fragger, but he is a very good team player. He's got great communication, and his attitude is honestly really important. Not that we had attitude issues before, but it's just he's a super positive guy, and he's also a really talented player that we felt deserved a slot on our team in the NPL, so he's with us now.
You guys are all together. You're here at Phase 2 playing on the stage with the big guys, and you've managed to pick up a victory in the first 2 days. So what does that mean for your momentum for the season? I
mean, first of all, you say big guys, but I think we're the biggest team here, so we're definitely part of the big guys. But picking up a victory here, it was one of the last games. So in fact, I think that was the last game. It means a lot to us. We had a really shaky start. Yesterday, we had like 1 or 2 good games, and then overall, out of the 8 games so far, we've had really not great games. So picking up the win here, getting I think we had like 11 or 12 kills, definitely was super important for us to have the momentum to go to next week. So hopefully we can carry on. Obviously, there's still a lot of games left in Phase 2, and we plan on winning more.
Yeah, you mentioned it, a lot of big kills here. So my last question to you guys is, what is the ticket for victory for you? Is it kills? Is it placements? Is it communication?
So because of the way that the structure is now, obviously kills are super important. Placement isn't something we're as worried about. Obviously, if we can go for the win, we want to go for the win. But if we're going to get like 13th place, we know we're kind of stuck in a position that we're just screwed. We'd rather just get 4 kills because that's like a top 5 placement. So kills are definitely going to be more important, and that's what we look for. We're a pretty frag-heavy team as well, so we have the capability to do it. We just have to make sure we're in the right positions so we don't get caught up on our rotations, which is kind of what happened to us so far, but we're going to fix that.
All right, well, thanks for the insights, Godspeed. We will see how that all plays out in the future. For now, we're going to throw it up to the casters to wrap up our 4th game of the day.
Thank you very much, Seltzer. Kills come with placement. Placement comes with kills. Kills don't always come with placement, right? Like every 16K team last season won their match. You have 2 sides. You have these guys, they played 13 kills in that game, did incredibly well. But then you see what Wildcard did, where they were out of position and they racked up 8, and they made sure that sometimes when you don't get a lucky circle, you're still earning points. So I think that it's pretty safe to say the meta, in my opinion, has cracked wide open in a lot of places, where it's not just about edge play, mid play. It's about adjusting per game to what's the best way to accrue points.
Well, I mean, that's kind of a fuels what's happened with the meta. Whenever you start looking at how grenades are behaved, whenever we start looking at bolt actions, you have a lot more opportunities. You don't always just have to crash center and pray that nobody shoots you along the way, because one, that's a lot more hazardous than it was beforehand. Like a lot of these players keep saying, one shots all over the place, and you have to be so cautious of it. So now we're starting to see a lot of teams adapt into a whole bunch of different strategies, like you're talking about. A little bit more passive play, a little bit more aggressive play over here. I really love it.
Absolutely. Well, let's take a look at the leaderboards, look back at match 1, how everyone performed. I want to see stuff like, I think Wildcard will be a little higher than we expect, but a big shout out to the Rumblers coming out in first place, Porosaurus.
23 kills, huge performance, and once again, it's just showing how much stronger the lobby is in the NPL here in Phase 2. We've had multiple different winners from all over the leaderboard. We're not seeing, the same 4 teams just dominate over and over again, but again, still first week.
Oh, I mean, we've got Wildcard that came in a great performance. Team Envy back behind that. Endemic. United again having another good game. Pecadora showing up on the leaderboards in those top 8s. And then we got Space Station Gaming and Cloud9 back behind that.
Absolutely. I mean, I think when Rumblers showed up with their new name, and he said we've been through a lot of players, been through a lot of names. They went through a lot of rough names, in my opinion.
Can we talk about that? I mean, really, these guys have had a rough road across a lot of teams. It's hard to keep track of their team names sometimes.
Absolutely. Well, let's keep track of everyone's overall standings, 11 through 16 on the board for you. Anything surprising you? I can see one glaring surprise for me.
Well, we got a lot on here. We got Denial, Ghost Gaming, Blue Martini Gaming, Pecadorus, Accelerate, and Simplicity. What's the one that's standing out to you? Is it Ghost?
I think Ghost at 12 is disappointing to me.
I expected a lot more out of Pecadorus.
Yeah,
honestly.
that too.
I mean, again, it's still week 1, but 18 kills off of 18 points. That's them coming out and actually fragging now. Yeah. Now we know that they're capable of getting placement points. Now we got to see if they start lining up here eventually.
Also,
the two strategies into
Blue
one.
Martini Gaming in the bottom of the bracket with a win under their belt. Also a little worrisome.
Yeah.
Next grouping, 5 through 10. Wild card at the top of that, Endemic at the bottom, Poro.
You know, Endemic had a decent day today, but again, after such a rough day 1, it was only so much they could catch up here today. Surprised also to see Space Station as low as they are. We're usually kind of accustomed to see them fighting for those top 5 positions.
And your boys, Player One Esports, down in 8th place right now.
Yep, they're
Today
sliding
was a rough
off.
day.
I mean, I think that's the moral of the story. Wins aren't enough. We've played 8 games. Yep. 2 of the teams that have won games are 10 or below. So winning isn't enough. You've got to get out there. You've got to get the kill points. You need to look at those per game point averages.
Yeah, I think Player One's highest. I think their highest finish today was 8th place.
Yeah.
I mean, that's night and day from the scene that we saw yesterday.
All right, this is the weekend. The big ones, 1 through 4. E United finishes the day up on top. Match them. Lazarus, Cloud9, and Tempo Storm. It's starting to feel like 2018.
I mean, this is a pretty common roster. I'm with Lazarus having to switch up again from shoot to kill. But look at the kills. These guys are stacking up so many kills, and that's a solid way with this meta. With you've got the grenades and you have the bolt actions, pick up the kills if you know you're in a bad spot. Kind of like what we saw in that last round with Envy just being like, I'm about to die anyway, but I'm at least going to take you down before I throw myself into the blue.
Yeah, big Lazarus win. Kind of a dig loss if you want to talk about that. But I'm excited about E United's performance today. Back-to-back wins. I want to talk to them, and I believe Seltzer is there to do just that.
You are correct, Toffees. I've got Pistola Time and Taylor J down here on the floor to talk about their incredible performance today and yesterday that has left you at the top of the leaderboard. So if I had to ask each of you to sum up exactly how you accomplished this, why don't you start us off, Taylor? How'd you do it?
I guess all thanks to Pistola. He's been really good at gelling and lots of good teamwork. Stav's been a great addition to our team, and I don't know, we've just been like in our groove.
Now, when you talk about improvements for in-game leading from Pistola Time, what does that improvement mean? How did he change?
I think he's been watching a lot of VODs, and he's like a very creative person and just smart naturally. So he just comes up with like ideas outside the box and just like, hey guys, like this is what we're doing. He's been doing really well with it. So.
Well, now we're paying compliments. Pistola Time, anything you want to say to Taylor J? Any compliments for his performance this week?
I mean, Taylor from the past 2 days of being like incredible at he's killing everyone. So I'm really happy we got that fragger on our team. And yeah, Stab also is like helping a lot with like positioning. So like it's perfect. Taylor's doing an amazing job right now.
Really helping out with positioning there with that microphone. Thank you. Yeah, we talked to some of the teams now talking about a different strategy, prioritizing kills, making sure that that's something that they're really thinking about, especially when they get on the back foot there in game. So what do kills factor into your overall strategy for?
I think we try to prioritize circle, and then if kills come, then we go for them. But it's tough. Like you can go for kills. Every circle is different. So if you're kind of screwed, you might want to go for kills. But then when you get a good position in the circle, then the kills will come later. So.
Yeah. And one last question here about momentum for the season. We saw Tempo Storm really set the pace these last couple competitions in opening week, in Phase 1, at the Royale. Now it seems like it's a little more open at the top. So what does that mean for you guys?
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's only the first week, so everything can happen. There's a lot of like teams. Everyone's really close to each other, so.
Strange circles.
Yeah. Also, that's been and a lot of different teams, so there's a lot of different ways of people are playing differently. So.
Well, thank you both so much for your insights, guys. Congratulations on an excellent performance in the first 2 days here at NPL. We are going to give it back up to the desk to close it out.
When a team does this well, when they win back-to-back games, when they come out on top at the end of the weekend, it makes sense that everyone out there is going to do whatever they can to emulate these guys, to be just like them, to copy what they do. I mean, it seems like they've got a good win scenario here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think emulation, obviously, copying is the sincerest form of flattery. And United, this is the United we've been expecting to see since the first week of Split 1 of NPL, and now they are finally coming out to shine.
I love the fact that we finally get to see how chilled these guys are. Like, they are just such like a humble, nice group of players.
Oh,
like whenever they were sitting there, it's just like, so what do you think that happened inside this? Oh, it's like obviously the person to my right. I love my whole thing. I just love the way they act.
They're all about the love, just like we are here at NPL. Remember, if you want to vote for your teams that we're featuring next week, get on OGN Esports. Let us know who you want to see. That's it for today. The music is playing us out. My name's Tom. I'm joined by Porosaurus, Matrim, from Cami D, Moses, Seltzer, and the rest of the team here. It has been great having you. Thank you for joining us. And don't forget, we'll see you on Saturday, 2 p.m.